everybody? Welcome back to the BamCast podcast. The BamCast, as always, is the home of the anti-PC. Shout out to Boom Draw Physics for the intro song, Prismatic Verse for the intro sequence. And while you're here, check out YouTubebright.com, promo code BAM10. You get 10% off anything you've ordered. And check the link below. We're ambassadors for Epidemic Sound. So you'll see and hear all that stuff in like the product commercials and stuff that I'm making, vlogs and stuff. And if you click on that link, you'll get yourself 30 days royalty-free music for all your projects, as well as help out the show. Here with me as always is the faithful co-host Bobby B.
The art is coming.
And the topic tonight, without wasting any time, is cults. For those of you who don't know.
So what's your favorite cult, Martin?
Am I allowed to have a favorite cult?
That's the thing.
Am I allowed to have a favorite cult?
That's the thing with cults, kid. People don't want to talk about cults.
Am I allowed to have a favorite cult? Is that okay?
Cults been around for so long. Like, even the term, I'm sure we've all heard the term drinking the Kool-Aid. That's from a cult. And that was in like, the 70s or 80s. I think it was the 80s. Or whatever it was, America had the biggest issue, or has always had the biggest issue with cults and serial killers. I don't know. Maybe they have the best policing, or what? Or maybe they just have the highest prevalence of sickos in the world. I don't know. But anyway, fuck ton of cults. My favorite one,
I think, is the highest amount of recordings.
My favorite one, is hard to pin down because it depends. It's like how I judge them is what you got people to believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you did, obviously, and then like how many people you killed or how many people died.
All right, hold on. I have an idea. Before we get to our favorite cults, let's leave, which sounds really weird to say.
This episode brought to you by Bob.
All right, let's leave that as like one of our last points.
By Bob's niche interests.
Let's leave that for one of our last points. And let's talk about what inspired this episode. So for the local watchers and listeners, you guys,
niggas know.
Y'all know what's going on because social media was amazing.
What's happening, what's popping.
But for the international and foreign listeners,
by the way, today being
this is October 25th.
The 25th of October 2021. Social media in Jamaica was
A1.
After like anytime after 10:30 or like 10:37 a.m. today
was amazing.
Fantastic.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, there has been in the news recently a cult in here, little old Jamaica.
A church.
So a cult in little old Jamaica that goes by the name of, what is it again?
I don't know.
Trinity.
Seven parts of Madara.
What's the 7 parts of Madara?
I don't know.
Dog, all right. So
some kind of pathway.
So basically, guys, what happened that caused everything to come to a head before us to get to here today is that it was reported, I believe it was on Sunday that this news would come out, was it?
No.
I don't remember. But it was a day when everybody was around their phone because it was a pretty like, what the hell when it happened? No, it was in the week.
No, it was in the middle of the week.
It was in the middle of the week.
It was like a Wednesday.
Yeah, it was like a what the fuck day. So it was a pretty like, what the hell? Basically, the story is that there was a gathering, and at this gathering, there was to be human sacrifices performed because the ark is coming. The world at end. Yeah, I'm trying to be nice.
Let me tell the story.
I'm trying to be nice. Yo, I'll throw in the ad-libs.
Peeper.
Y'all niggas are dumb.
Let me tell you something. First of all, so there's a church, right?
Mm-hmm.
Church been in existence for years, like years.
Oh, I was giving them the story before the backstory.
Years. So anyway, the story is that the brother who run the church called the people, the congregation, called them out. It was a Sunday. It was a no movement day. I remember saying it's a fucking no movement day. Oh, your minister, your pastor fair call you out there, yeah, on a no movement day in the middle of the night.
Pastor Kevin Smith.
So Kevin,
Kevin
called out the people then.
A roll out.
Dressed in a full white.
All white.
Left your phone at home.
Purity. No phones allowed.
Come to church. The ark is coming. We need to be prepared. So apparently, the people going to the church,
Oh, niggas came with
Them
kids.
see animal in the church, you see cow and goat and them something. All of them there at the back of the church and there's a line on the ground. Apparently, if any of these animals were to cross this line, they were to be killed.
Walk out, get chalk out, basically.
Cause the G say, yo, me tell them not to move.
No. His Excellency.
So yeah, so good. Fucking idiot. I'm sorry, I have
No. You don't have to
them
apologize.
said, no, I'm just letting the people know. Them said those people are the dead. This brother, no.
Why I can't speak ill of the dead? If you're a shitty person in life, it doesn't change when you die.
He took advantage of people.
Raped kids.
If you are of a religious mindset, he took your Lord's name
in vain,
way out of context. But anyway, so the people them go there to the service and them all white left them phone.
Some people did bring their phone.
Oh, by the way, apparently this is the second coming of the ark. It never come the first time. Let me tell them. These people also paid like $100,000 for a seat on the ark. By the way, that's like pleb seats. You could pay more for better seats. Anyway, apparently there was space for only 144 people on the ark. So he said to them, some people would have to be killed in order to make room. But
so why them just couldn't
some
forward?
People among them had been infected by the mark of the beast, he said. The mark of the beast is in the vaccine, according to him. So the woman who was killed, that poor misguided soul, leaving her child behind.
Sure, was like goat in front of people.
Yeah.
And there were, I think it was
apparently,
2 or 3 other men that were like stabbed too.
Apparently the brother turned to the pastor turned to her and said, is it true that he took the vaccine?
She said
yes. And then turned to her next brother with a knife and say, yo,
boss her,
kill her. Man just turned around and
off with her.
Boss her throat. Like Martin said, like a goat. She falls on the ground bleeding out in the church. Apparently there are 2 or 3 other people to be sacrificed in that way, but their sacrifice was they were stabbed and shot. Me don't know what kind of sacrifice you stab and shoot people. Not that I know much about sacrifice, but as far as I know in ritual sacrifice throughout human history, it rarely ever involves stabbing and shooting.
It's usually, they'll take out your heart, they'll bust your throat.
So anyway,
maybe your head comes off.
Well, apparently the police came in at that point and the person was shooting the sacrifices turned around and started shooting at the police. Who returned fire, the person gives up, people are arrested. Apparently most of the male members of the church were naked or mostly naked.
Yeah.
While the women were clothed.
And there were kids there.
And they were there with erect penises, apparently, according to some people. There have been talk of the pastor abusing young boys and his mere young boys surrounding him in pictures and videos in and around the church.
You've also seen him in multiple pictures with multiple high-profile members of the Jamaican society.
Which is why the conspiracy is that.
You have to tell them. Like, what led up to the conspiracy.
My boy got what?
Epstein did not kill himself. Kevin Smith did not.
Kevin Smith got suicided.
The same pastor brother was being transported on a convoy from Mobay to Kingston. Bunch of questions there. Because in Jamaica, where you commit the crime is where you go to like that parish church or court or what? Not church. That's a church. Court. Why was he coming to Kingston? But anyway, en route to Kingston, a car accident occurred and he was subsequently killed.
So first of all,
he got Princess Diana.
It's a police convoy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's in the unmarked
consisting
vehicle.
of 2 cars.
It's about 3 of them. It's 3 vehicles. It's 3 vehicles and 9 officers in total.
I only saw 2 blow through that intersection.
No man, there's a pickup car.
Oh yeah, I didn't see the pickup. I saw the cars.
So the unmarked car is the one that was carrying the criminal.
The pastor boy.
And him, apparently he was supposed to get a police vehicle, but that apparently developed mechanical issues, so he was moved to the unmarked car. Easier to identify. So yes, and driving from Kingston to Mobay, you think that the JSAF will take the toll. No, the JSAF is not immune from paying the toll. Only the highway patrol station that wherever they are stationed at, the JSAF does have to pay the toll. I feel like for such a high profile case,
high profile criminal, you'll get reimbursed. Y'all should have been on the toll.
Yeah.
The fact that you guys took the gorge, which for those of you who don't know, is a much more difficult path.
Even that, they never ever reached the gorge.
But it's a gorge route them was on.
Yeah, but about a backward bypass. Let's see bypass them left one.
It's also pretty fraught if you don't know what you're doing. So
So yes,
Epstein.
So on the way,
All things a bit Epstein.
on that road, they end up in an accident. The police car carrying him is more severely damaged. One of the officers in the vehicle with him ends up dying, which is really the only sad thing that has happened here. Rest in peace to that brother. They were named Irons, I think is his name.
Yeah.
That fuck up my G. That shouldn't happen to you. Them should just take the pastor boy.
Yeah.
Pastor boy, by the way, in the videos of the crash scene, is not wearing any handcuffs in the vehicle. And I don't know of any fugitive, especially in such a high-profile murder investigation, would not be cuffed.
Usually after an accident where someone dies, if you're transporting the body on the gurney, the stretcher, they cover it. Wasn't covered.
To be fair, only doctors can pronounce it dead unless them like see parts of your body hanging out.
Yeah, but even when like even it's not you don't only do that for dead people. If someone's like injured or severely injured or whatnot, and they're transporting them and it's across people, they'll cover it. They put him on the spine, the bodyboard, the hard one for you're supposed to be for your back, and then put him in the ambulance. Belly out. Here's my thing, right? Should I tickle him for check? They carry him to Linstead Hospital where it's pronounced dead. Now, I grew up in Linstead. You don't go into Linstead Hospital expecting to come out of Linstead Hospital. Just saying that. The injured police officers were taken to Spanish Town Hospital, which not much better than Linstead, but markedly better nonetheless. That tells me more than enough I need to know about that situation. I said this before we started recording. I'm waiting on them to come up with a report in like a couple of days. They can't find the body. Or like the body some shit like that. There are pictures coming out with him with many politicians, high profile members of the police department, high members of the police department. Just important people in society. He was accused of rape of 3 underage boys, and he apparently got it cleared up because he's related to a high-profile member of the JCF, allegedly. And a lot of police and army people are members of his church, apparently. I remember to be members of this church, you pay $100,000 minimum a month. For those of you who don't know, that is it's not a good salary in Jamaica, but it's above the average salary in Jamaica for like the average Joe out the road. So to be paying $100,000 a month out of your pocket, literally almost 4 times the minimum wage. Paying $100,000 out of pocket would have to mean that you then surviving somewhere or another. If you arrived late to his church sermons, you were charged a late fee. Beginning of the year, you're expected to forego your first paycheck to the church. There were 4 collections in each church service. So, if any of you churchgoers, normally the collection plate is passed around once at his service. And you're allowed to pass it off 4 times. If you got to church late, you'd have to pay a late fee. I said that Lego. Yeah. And he wasn't a underfed man. Here's what my thing about cults, right? Is how people can be led astray. I don't get it. No, alright. That is what I don't get. Being one of my niche interests, obviously I've delved into this a little bit. I've also said it to myself. Explain the psychology of how you can stand up in a room, see him tell another member, yo, kill her. The person, do it. He then instructs other people, shoot and stab them people there. And then when him get locked up, he sending voice notes to people, members of the church, his following after this whole incident, they haven't buckled. So it's not like they came to the light. They are saying that he is the second coming of the Lord, and just like how Jesus, no one believed him, and he was fought out, is the same thing, and that the pastor is a good man, and they're cutting off family members and saying I've heard these voice notes and saying well, you just don't understand because you're too caught up in the ways of the world. I need you to explain to me how they can see horrific evil like that and still pray it as I the one. How? 2 words. Confirmation bias. Go off. It makes sense in their world. It makes sense in their world. Tim. It makes sense. It makes sense in the reality they've created for themselves. Look at it this way. People who normally fall into these things are usually wayward. Usually on the fringes of society and looking for somewhere to fit in. I know that fact. I know that fact. I know the
Right.
profile of the type of person that ends up in cults. Big up Boy Meets World.
Boom blast. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Church people.
Mm-hmm.
They need something to believe in. If this man says here's the thing with cults as well. I always say, how do you end up getting trapped? Scientology.
Always wondered that.
Scientology, guys. It is not until you are deep into it you see the fucked up shit happening.
Oh,
You are too close to the
forest to see the trees.
No, too close to the trees to see the forest.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. Said that wrong way.
Yeah.
So
and then why I say Scientology? It's not until like the whatever level that you start hearing about the B-52s and the aliens in the ocean and the membranes.
But all that, there are levels of Scientology, paid levels for a religion.
So I'm assuming there are paid levels in this church.
That was made up
by a science fiction
your timeline.
Yeah, science fiction. Scientology is also a cult. That's why I bring it up.
I always make this joke that the difference between a religion and a cult is that the guy who made up the religion is dead.
Yeah.
You born come say this like set thing. But for a person in your lifetime to then come make a whole brand new cultish religion, that is wilder to me than like this pastor brother is still wild and what went on wild, but the concept of Christianity, Jesus, God, the second coming, all them things that have been said. Me, 28 years old, born come say that. So I don't get how people let themselves fall to that, but I would more understand it because of the longevity of it.
They don't know. That's what I'm saying. They don't know. And at the point that it starts getting weird, confirmation bias sets in. It is what they know and it has to be this way because it is all they know. So they look for things. It's like anti-vaxxers. They look for things that support their beliefs.
So even after seeing the act of evil,
it had a purpose. It was a method to the madness.
God works in mysterious ways.
God works in mysterious ways. The ark is real. The ark is coming there persecuting our Messiah, just like they did Jesus.
When I heard that woman say that in the dark, I was like, yo, that is when I realized the level of insidiousness that level of insidiousness that like this really is. Because you have these people not even believing you're a king or a holy man. You have them believing that you are the Messiah. Mm-hmm. Dog, how?
I'm pissed on the Christian them go right now. Jesus leaving name Jesus.
Jesus?
Yeshua. J don't exist in Hebrew.
What did you say? I'm sorry to cut you again, but I just want to forget this. We're talking about this in the group earlier. Believe me, guys, we're talking about this the whole day. Y'all niggas read the same Bible I did read where Jesus as a child did go to the temple and see commerce and sale and all these transactional stuff going
at the church. Man turn over that book.
And no, if you read the way the people tell the stories, Jesus went in there and turned over everything. But if you read the story, Jesus went in there and bossed people. Jesus went in there was pumping people in, flipping everything out, kicking up, man, like going off on people.
How dare you do this in my father's house?
Only reading the same Bible that
I am not a religious person by any stretch of imagination.
And you know that story.
I know that story. I remember that clearly.
And that's a clear message to say this is supposed to be a spiritual place, not a place of commerce or like false idol pastor worship. Because Lidge, big up yourself, Lidge, and looking forward to the music video when it drop.
Lidge, my fucking artist.
You know what I mean, dog? Lidge did tweet the other day, and it was one of the realest tweets because Lidge himself is a very God-fearing man. And Lidge did say that when he stepped away from the church, he got closer to God because Jamaicans have a very thin line that them don't realize where they worship the pastors, not the word of God.
Let me tell you something. Every Sunday on local TV, church programs come on. I have an uncle who always watches a particular pastor, Gino Jennings. Gino Jennings has come to Jamaica and done crusades or whatever the fuck pastors do when they travel and perform like a fucking, I don't know, band or music artist. I don't know. But anyway, Gino Jennings segregates his church. Men on one side, women on the other side. Right there, so? Yeah, about him. No, obviously people not.
No, he's not. He wants to segregate the women so he can like him.
I'm not saying anything about people who are attracted, whatever. Gino Jennings is a bad thing.
Yeah, anyway, there's a difference.
So, as far as me concerned, He also has a guy whose only purpose in the church, he stands beside him when he's up at the pulpit or whatever. That guy reads all the scriptures that they're going to be talking about that day, and he agrees with everything Gina says.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
He's
over there just going, yes.
It's called a yes man.
Yes. Hallelujah. Yes. A literal yes man.
But that's a thing.
No. All right, let me tell you something. And I've said it here on this podcast before, and I've said it many times in my life. My issue with the church is you are not allowed to ask questions. I can't.
That was the departure for young Martin. When I realized that if I ask questions, they got mad at me because you're not supposed to ask questions. But Jesus teaches in parables, came want you to think. Like,
the Kevin brother said you need for them tell him congregation for wrap them cell phone in a file to avoid interference from whatever the fuck is out there to get them.
The 5G.
The 5G radiation.
5G.
To protect themselves from the 5G radiation that their phones are emitting.
Yeah, bye.
They need to wrap them phone in file.
Yeah,
People did this.
That is the
this is 2021. The fact that you have a smartphone means you more than likely have access to the internet, which means you can Google these things this man is saying to you. But confirmation bias sets in.
I hear what you're saying.
And this man that you trust, this man who represents God, who you trust even more, says to you that what he says is true. So what
you just
if he says to you what they say on the internet is a lie because they're feeding you these things.
Because God whispered in my ear and I heard voices. Anywhere else in the world or in any other context, you hear voices telling you something. You're mentally ill. Yep. Church,
amazing.
God talking to you. Any other context, you're talking gibberish and you throw yourself on the ground uncontrollably. You're having a psychotic break. In church, speaking in tongues. The Holy Spirit is in you. This isn't here to bash. I'm not saying that to like bash the religious folks. I'm pointing out
this shit crazy. You should have a deep look at yourself sometimes.
I'm pointing out how easy it is for a brother like this Kevin Smith General just come along, and because you've been conditioned to believe the fantastic for so long without any question, not saying you shouldn't believe, but you should question, that you'll just believe anything.
So
and then nowhere
now
here.
do you understand how people
I understand the concept.
Yeah, but that's all you will ever understand.
Yeah, my brain can't understand no deeper than the surface.
All right, there are people.
The sentence makes sense. The meaning of the sentence, I can't wrap my mind around.
People on Twitter got into a tizzy when someone...
Not a tizzy.
A tizzy.
A tizzy.
Multiple people said it could never be me. I never followed that. People like, no, you shouldn't say that. It could be anybody. No, motherfucker. It would never be me.
And I said that. I retweet with every fiber
chest that is right here.
Being.
I say that. It would never be me. You know why? I ask question. When the brother said to me, your first paycheck of the year is mine.
Why?
What did you do to deserve my paycheck from my labor? God needs it.
God don't need money.
God doesn't need money. God said it is easier for a poor man to enter heaven than it is for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle.
And the dog didn't know the scripture, but him knows how fuckery I chat.
A poor man's chance of entering heaven is greater than a rich man's chance of passing through the eye of a needle.
You gotta ask questions, bro. Like, and it's an education level thing too.
But
it's an education level thing.
Any which way God don't deal in material things. That is the Christian doctrine. That's why nuns and priests and what the male nun them name?
Monk. Priest?
Monk.
Oh yeah, nuns.
That's why monk and nun take vows of poverty
and chastity.
Abstinence, chastity, them something that them don't fuck, them don't rich.
That's why them live in what you would call like not niceness. Them live in like basic. Which
is what religion
because you're supposed to give away
for.
your earthly possessions.
Yes, for
dedicate
preparation
yourself.
for heaven.
Yes. You don't need money.
You're supposed to dedicate your life to the worship of God.
These niggas with super churches that won't even let people in during natural disasters are not men of God.
Remember
They're
that.
Cunts. You all need to understand and realize.
You lack the warmth and the depth, so I shouldn't call you a cunt.
But you are. That's the best word.
Yes.
So, anyway, on the topic of cults of the world. So, we went on a little rant about the Jamaican shit. You guys can look up the stories.
It's happening right now.
It's happening right now.
It's a developing story.
It's a developing story. Fittingly so, Kevin Smith and Heaven's Gate. That's the name of the place.
That's his thing? That's Pathways.
Is it? No, oops, Heaven's Gate's right there. Let me look and tell you on the trending. I will read off our top 10s. This photo, L.A. Lewis, another madman, had choice words to say. So L.A. Lewis bunny out, like it.
Let me just say.
I hate that you made me agree with L.A. Lewis.
7. That's all I have to say. Here in this match.
His Excellency Kevin Smith, Jamaica. Any of those are all trending in entertainment.
Yes, because Jamaica is
a poppy show.
Bro, I'm going to tell you something. If I had the skill right now to write a script, I would be writing a script about what's happening with this pastor brother and be sending it to Netflix.
Whoever writing Jamaica's script for this past year has been on point.
Listen,
on
kids.
Point.
Here now. Here's the story. Here's the overview. Who met the main character? The person. Should it be a cult member who seen the light and trying to get out? Should it be a policeman investigating the bloodshed?
Main character of this story is.
Let's make it all. No wait, I'm writing my Netflix story.
I know. I'm telling you.
Who?
I watch it on visual media to tell you.
That's true. Who's gonna be the main character?
The main character is the female police officer who placed the call to let the other man them come because she was in it. And then when she was there and it started going on.
It wasn't a police officer, but I guess we're doing artistic license. No, the person who made the call
wasn't a police officer?
I don't think so. The person was doing killing. And the person who died.
Killing and died was the police. Okay,
the person doing the shooting and the
person
who died.
So the person killing and died was... Alright, so our main... That's even better.
Artistic license, bro.
No.
The person who made the call can be a police officer.
No, that's even better. Because not everybody will want to identify with the police. So we can make this person an everyman kind of character.
There we go.
Alright, trouble past, anything that relates to you guys. Yeah, you know, why are we giving away the sauce?
Why are we doing this for you guys?
We'll do it on our own. Anyway. Alright, so.
But shit will be lit. I'm just tell you something. Murder cults in the 21st century, in the Caribbean.
Wow.
Netflix is ready.
And then you have so much more like spider webs to go off from that because
bro, I already have the first season. The first season is what's happening right now. The second season is the person trying to get away from the cult that's still clinging on to the vestiges of their falling leader. I have it.
No, but then you could spiral out because if you have human sacrifices in the church, Jerome more than likely this isn't the first time he did something like that. There's always missing people. Artistic license. Connect dots that aren't necessarily
the main character from the first season. My family member went missing.
No sauce.
Nearby this church.
So
we're digging up the grounds. We're finding.
Shut up! No sauce. Stop giving it away because we're actually gonna script out some of this.
This is real life, but they are finding bodies and digging them up. I mean, animal bodies.
But still, what the fuck? Remember that video the other day of the brother with the goat head in his hand and him sucking the blood out of the goat head?
Let me tell you something.
The writers of Jamaica going on.
Let me tell you something, people.
That's disgusting.
Belief is a hell of a thing. Doctors will tell you. People who base their entire life around science and things you can prove by testing. They will tell you that if you don't believe that you will get better, you will not get better.
The placebo effect, real?
Yeah, no. Belief is a fact. Hell of a
It's a fact. Belief kill and belief cure.
Bad man, if that man sucking the blood out of the goat head believe that blood will make him better somewhere in life, it will make him better.
Facto mundo.
I'm not telling you to go there and suck goat blood. I'm telling you.
Because it's fucking disgusting and an easy way to get parasites.
Just believe that you will
believe in yourself or that nigga believe in that.
In the goat blood. Basically.
Because the man was holding a goat head.
Freshly severed goat head in his hand.
Put him head to it and his mouth was cut. He looked like a vampire. It's fucking disgusting. But anyway, moving on. So we're gonna ring off some of the
top cults
in the world.
Fantastic.
Alright. First one on the list. Heaven's Gate.
Give you hot points. Japanese.
Let's read it off. Followers of the Heaven's Gate cult, led primarily by Marshall Applewhite, thought Earth everything on it were about to be recycled to a clean slate and believing hitching a ride on a comet, the Halley Boop, March 1997. Halley Bopp in March 1997 could allow them to survive 39 members, including Applewhite, poisoned themselves in shifts in a California mansion wearing Nike sweaters and armbands that read Heaven's Gate Away Team. He thought that recycle was coming.
No, I was thinking that
and so he got them to off. Again, getting people to off themselves is a different level, you know. Because getting a person to kill another person, pretty bad.
Charles Manson, Jim Jones.
Getting a person to kill
Charles Manson got people
themselves?
to kill people. Jim Jones got people to kill themselves.
Killing yourself goes against your most innate programming, your lizard brain, if you will. We've said this on pods already. The most basic thing life forms will do, try to not die.
Mm-hmm.
To get them to override that and kill themselves, I think is a different level of like,
Particular brand of Kool-Aid.
what the fuck, bro? No, there you go. Manson family. Charles Manson, who learned to play the guitar in prison, formed his infamous family of criminals in 1968. Manson thought an apocalyptic race war between the whites and the blacks would occur in 1969, after which the commune would rule the new world. Well, it was called Helter Skelter, eh?
That was the war.
The race war that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
When it didn't happen, he sent his followers on a string of murders to show blacks how to do it. But the victims Manson selected were those who had not helped him with his music career. So basically, he was picking off people who pissed him off. That's a mad, short little dude. If you guys watch Mindhunter, the actor who played Manson, that was scarily accurate. But yeah, he was a pissy little dude. Is this though? No, this looks Indian.
Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh.
Go off, sir.
Mm-hmm. Indian mystic.
Because I'm going to mispronounce his name.
Same guy. Indian mystic Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh founded several cultist towns in Oregon. Oh, this is the guy with the Rolls Royces. There's also a Netflix series about him. I don't remember the name of it though.
I hate that I love watching those.
He had, so he formed several towns in Oregon throughout the 1980s, strangely communities chock full of Rolls Royce cars. He allegedly poisoned hundreds in Dallas, Oregon, with salmonella bacteria in 1984 to rig local elections in his cult's favor. It's considered the first bioterrorist attack in the U.S.
Salmonella attack.
Salmonella not real.
Nigga attacked you with eggs.
It's another government conspiracy.
Shut
Do you know nobody get salmonella?
No.
How much raw egg you name in your life? How much cake batter you eat?
I born in the 90s. My immune system different. I was
bro.
forged in the fires of red dirt and mud with friends.
Okay, Ben. I was just born into it.
Huh? You just born into it? I was molded by it. I didn't see the light till I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. That was a good line. The Order of the Sun Temple.
That was a
Luc.
Belgians, Luc
Jouret. A Belgian religious leader and neo-Nazi. Wow.
The whites.
Reportedly started a group in 1984 on the Christian...
Very well.
Nigga, don't it? On the Christian guises named the Second Coming of Christ and the Knights Templar. Yes. For those of you who don't know what the Knights Templar is, just go look it up. You'll have fun.
It's fine.
White people know how to do things.
It's guess. Yeah, it is like go read Dan Brown, like go play Assassin's Creed.
Yes. Bro. Just go look it. And while you're there, the Crusades.
Yes.
All right, so
y'all niggas live over there, you practicing your own religion? Fuck you. Coming to take that shit.
No. Jure and other leaders in a Swift village allegedly sacrificed a child they thought to be the Antichrist in 1994.
Nice.
Days later, committing suicide with dozens of followers.
Nice.
The French considered the organization to be criminal today.
No.
I hope so.
Villa Baviera, what the fuck is that?
Also known as Colonia Dignidad. Wow. Villa Baviera is a commune of the German immigrants that was founded in 1961 by Paul
Schneider.
I was just going to go with Schneider.
Schneider is German for hunter.
Yeah.
No, lie. That's Jäger.
No, Jäger is hunter. Schneider is...
It's something.
No, Jäger is wolf. Schneider is hunter. Panzer is war tank.
There we go.
Yeah. Seriously, anime once again. Seriously, Jäger. Once I saw a Jäger, I knew it was going to be a werewolf dude. And then they were the Panzer units and whatnot. So that's where I pieced all of that together.
And fun fact for you football fans, Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Love that name.
Schweinsteiger means pig farmer.
I love that name. Strong name. Strong name.
Mr. Pig Farmer, good to meet you.
Strong name. So, Schneider, a former Nazi party member. Human rights groups argue Chile's secret police used the compound to torture and interrogate subjects, and former members have since issued apologies for molesting children as well.
Cool.
Ew.
Of course. Why not just be a cult? Why not touch kids on top of it?
Why does it always get sexual? Is it a power? Well, everything in life
It's a
is
power
about
thing.
everything in life is about sex, except for sex. Sex is about power, so it's a power thing.
And every cult leader,
Fucks everyone's wife.
and usually the young girls, he has to be first.
Yeah, the fact that like the rite of first night was a thing that some kings indulged in. For those of you who don't know, in olden days, the king of your spot could use the first night privilege where you and your wife get married. Whereas you would want to be the one to, be knocking boots on your first night of marriage, the king could slip in. And it was considered an honor for some people. Genghis Khan used to do it on a regular. That's why so many people are still...
so many descendants.
That's why so many people are still related to him. That you dog used to
There you go, kids.
mash.
You want to be immortal? Be fucky.
The cargo cults.
Were there no STDs back then?
I've thought about this before. There could not
Let
be...
me center myself and delve into this topic.
I've thought about this before. Before syphilis,
There could not have been anything.
could not have been
Any
STDs. And if there were, it was like a flu. It couldn't have been like the shit that we have going on now. Shit that you carry for life like luggage. Because humanity would not have made it because niggas didn't
like
bathe. Bruh, niggas didn't bathe.
Got the dick
People,
flu.
you did go a chew for a week and then it goes away, you know what I'm saying? People were disgusting. They did not bathe. They did not clean.
Yo, how did women deal with periods back then?
Nickels. Everything nickels.
People never have bathroom or
Brother.
running water, so they never wipe them bottom. You just shit and just...
I am
Go.
convinced STDs developed from that nasty shit.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that's where...
No
all right.
way in the fact that history exists
Mm-hmm.
and the way people did fucky,
Mm-hmm.
STDs could not have been a thing,
No.
dog.
Because...
No. I refuse.
The diseases that wiped out native New World populations were formed from old world white people living really close to the animals. Like
Yeah.
literally
Viruses
sharing
jumped.
rooms.
SIV, HIV, viruses jump.
Yeah. So animal viruses mutated, jump to humans, you get new things we've never had before, obviously. And then they carry that over to the new world where obviously the people over there have never seen that before and they get wiped out.
They didn't even see the
Smallpox,
basic shit you guys had.
regular shit. So
It
yeah,
gotta
smallpox is a cousin of cowpox. Hence why if you get cowpox, it inoculates you from getting smallpox, which was one of the first discoveries in the battle against diseases and one of the first successes in vaccination.
Them niggas didn't have STDs because condoms weren't that thing. Niggas was fucking
So
raw.
No. They had condoms. Don't say
The
that.
sheepskin shit?
Sheepskin.
How many people were using that, to be honest?
And not sheepskin.
And people had to
Remember, it
then
wasn't
come up
sheepskin.
with that.
Remember, it wasn't sheepskin.
It's the intestine, isn't
Sheep
it?
intestine.
Yeah, it's the sheep
That's
intestine condoms.
The
But yeah,
same,
how many-
literally the same thing that they covered their sausage, that they stuff meat into to make sausage with. That's what
I mean, meat.
covering your meat, stuffing your meat.
You know what I mean? But like, how many people are really using that? Dog? Them niggas didn't have STDs back in the day. And I'm pretty sure I'm incorrect.
Most likely wrong because more than likely current STDs are just
I am 100% sure I'm
evolutions
incorrect.
of past STDs,
But in my brain,
impossible.
I'ma just say, them niggas couldn't have STDs like STDs going around. No, they could not have things they carried for life like luggage.
Like nowadays,
Could not.
you might get just like outside of the major thing, which is HIV/AIDS. Right?
You're running the mill chlamydia.
You could get the clap, which is chlamydia.
No, clap is
Clap is the
gonorrhea.
Which called the clap because apparently they used to clap their penis to knock out the pus.
That and something else. There was another meaning.
So
for it
gonorrhea,
too.
chlamydia, and syphilis.
Yeah.
Those are treatable. Those are things you can take medicine for and they go away.
Yeah, the one every time I say carry it for life like luggage, I mean in shit like herpes, HIV.
Herpes is so common.
It's horrifically common. Let me look up how many people have herpes
Herpes
statistically.
is horrifically common. And you can get that from one. If the person's having a flare up, you can get that from one.
From contact. You can get that from contact.
Like not even sexual contact.
Here's one of the most disgusting things that I learned, and also because of this fact, a lot of like really cheating ass like people use this as an excuse. So public restrooms, someone's having a when like you get use the bathroom sometimes when you sit down, your dick touch the toilet or whatever. Cool, you're having a flare up, your dick touch the toilet, feels gross, you fix it, you go about your business. Another person come in there, sit down, and a similar thing happen, dick touch the toilet, you get the jump. That happens. Public toilet transmissions are more common than you think in airports.
Okay, cool. I don't use the bathroom. I was so
Yo, even terrified a while ago. But that's the thing.
I was just about like, fuck, I have herpes now.
You know my flare up.
Like all the times in my life, I've like that has happened to me.
According to the CDC, more than 1 in 6 people in the United States between the ages of 14 and 49
Have herpes.
have herpes.
So yeah.
My guy, 1 in 6?
There's no way this shit was around back then.
Not that much. Hell no.
Impossible.
No way.
Because
I'm pretty sure.
the Black Death would not be what have wiped out Europe.
No. It would have been fucking.
Yeah.
It would have been fucking.
The black humping. Like,
The black humping.
It would have been the clap. Like syphilis. And don't get me wrong, you know. Remember like Beethoven went mad and blind because of syphilis.
Syphilis drive people mad. Chlamydia make your hair drop out.
So those things existed.
Syphilis make your hair drop out.
Those things existed like 1500s, 1600s.
Big wigs, powdered wigs were a thing because of syphilis.
Right.
Like them.
So 14, 15, 16.
The shit that will cure you did it. I'm pretty sure.
Did the Aztecs have to deal with STDs? Yeah, the Tainos have to deal with STDs.
No, dog. The man they kill shit and pray to Jah.
The niggas who lived in Mesopotamia, the Gilgamesh, the man who lived in Ur, the Babylonians.
Them Bible niggas with 150 wives, you did not have STD.
Methuselah lived to 900 and something.
STD free, raw, 100%. Like, come on. I love that you asked me that question because I've honestly thought about that before.
Center myself. I have been waiting for this moment.
I thought about that before, okay?
And so this is one of those unknowns for a lot of people.
This is what
I
have thought.
I'm not one of those people.
No, this is what we play for. Alright?
I bro, don't.
Man, I'd be like,
fucking play for.
Cause no,
I have trained so long for this moment.
that like, so you know,
motherfuckers were with me shooting in the gym.
So you know, like sometimes when people ask you, "Hey, what are you thinking about?" and you tell them like you have nothing
because really you're thinking about
like something horrifically stupid. That was one of them,
bro.
Like a lot of the times, if I say nothing, it really is nothing.
Bro.
But sometimes if you see me like obviously in deep contemplation about something, they ask me and I go, "Oh, nothing." It's because of something stupid. But if I have a blank look on my face, yeah, I'm not thinking about shit.
It's like, bro, you know what I always think about? All right, before mass production, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had to make your clothes, you know?
Handmade.
Like,
handmade. Sew it and get it.
Bro.
Yeah.
So when that tear, you know, you're not going to say, fuck, I'm going to go grab our next one out of the closet.
No, it's fuck, nah, nothing.
When you do laundry, I hate that, you're naked.
Last cult on this list, so we'll just close out this list, and then we can talk.
That list is missing out.
No. It's a short list. Because I was gonna say then we could just go off for like our quote unquote favorites to close out the episode. Last one on this list is the aliens. If you believe in if you believe UFOs spawned most religions, mind transfer is possible, and cloning can lead to reincarnation, then you might be a candidate for the Alien Church. Started in France in 1970s. The followers made headlines in 2003 when one claimed to have conceived the first cloned human, but the event was later called a hoax. That one's not that bad in comparison to the rest.
Yeah, that list sucked, guys. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, that one's not that bad in comparison to the rest. You got some horrific ones out there.
Shinrikyo in Japan, they did a sarin attack on the subway.
A what?
Sarin. It's a nerve gas.
Cute.
Sarin attack on the subway. There is...
Oh, this was in US history, I guess. That's why.
There is... there was the Branch Davidians, which resulted in the Waco, Texas siege, where the ATF and FBI used a horrific amount of like military grade weapons to kill these people. And if you don't think they did, go fuck yourself. Who else was there? That's a good one. Manson, we spoke about Manson. Jim Jones wasn't even on that list, which is crazy to me because Jim Jones. That's the first one I think of. Jim Jones is the guy whose cult made us coin the phrase "drink the Kool-Aid." Jim Jones ended up under pressure in the US, realized he was about to be investigated, and moved the cult like overnight to Guyana. They bought land in Guyana in the forest to build a utopia. When the people got there, it was just like land. They had to build their commune from the forest, and they did. And almost 1,000 people are living there, and some people it was great, some people it fucking sucked. Like the guy had speakers set up that were broadcasting his sermons 24 hours a day, like a North Korea style thing. But basically, some people who were there got out messages about how, it sucked and want to leave, and some congressmen went down there to see what was happening, and they were about to leave with some people who wanted to leave, and Jim Jones sent gunmen to shoot them up, ended up killing the congressman, and then he was like, shit gonna fall apart now, all right, everybody time to kill yourself. So a lot of people, they mixed up huge vats of Kool-Aid, it actually wasn't Kool-Aid. Fun fact, I watched another documentary about it on Netflix the other day. I think it was Powerade or some other drink. And they put cyanide tablets in there and made the people drink it. So a lot of people believe that most of the people voluntarily drank it. But a lot of the survivors say that there were men with guns around the pavilions pointing inwards at them to make sure they drank it.
We read off this song, Perry?
Sure.
The same day Bob talking about, later that same day, November 18th, 1978, 909 inhabitants of Jonestown, that's where they were.
Jim Jones.
304 of them were children, died of an apparent cyanide poisoning, mostly in and around the central pavilion. Like you're saying, guns pointed into the pavilion. This resulted in the single greatest loss of American civilian life, murder and suicide, though not on American soil. Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
In a deliberate act, the FBI later recovered a 45-minute audio recording of the mass poisoning in progress.
Mm-hmm.
On the tape, Jones tells temple members that the Soviet Union, with whom the temple had been negotiating a potential exodus for months, would not give them passage after the airship shooting. The reason given by Jones to commit suicide was consistent with his previously stated conspiracy theories of intelligence organizations allegedly conspiring against the temple, that men would parachute in here on us, shoot some of our innocent babies, and they'll torture our children, they'll torture some of our people here, they'll torture our seniors. Jones' prior statements that hostile forces would convert captured children to fascism would lead many members who strongly believed in the temple's leftist ideologies to view the supposed suicide as valid. Jim Jones's biography, when you look him up, everyone has like entrepreneur, Jim Jones, James Warren Jones was an American mass murderer, cult leader, political activist, preacher, and Christian Marxist. See the through line there?
Yeah. He is, when it comes to cults, his cult, the People's Temple, I believe was the name of it. That is the pinnacle. Like, you don't get much more than that. Like, and as I was explaining to Martin, it's people who just need something to believe in, and it just so happens that this guy got to them before anything sensible did.
Tell you that I stuck at the sentence. Like, the sentence makes sense. I understand English. The words make sense.
Oh. We'll never get it because it will never be us, because we ask questions.
Oh no, it could be anybody. Nah, it could be you, not me.
I ask questions.
Go fuck yourself with that shit.
Why? How come? Why are we here doing this? How does this make sense? It doesn't. Don't fall for it, kids.
Kill myself? I, as a man who has gone through like bouts of like dark mental periods and whatnot, I understand the concept of like wanting to off thyself, but to get someone to go through with it, not for their reasoning, but for your reasoning, I would never get. That is. I know you guys looking up at us, happy we're talking about you. Fuck off though. You don't know. Any final words for the folks on this here cult pod?
Ask questions.
Don't just follow shit.
Don't just follow because them say so. Don't just because your band come see it don't mean it right. It just mean nobody asked questions before probably.
Hear that, Jamaicans? Hear that, Jamaicans?
So yeah.
Do better.
Kevin.
I know you're looking up at us.
I wish
if you actually gone.
I wish you did that wicked. I will be at your tomb, however, in 3 days to push to roll the stone away and see if you are still there. 999.
7